IPOB! One family!
We have come to restore Biafra. There is nothing the devil can do about it. I want to fight Satan, not Hausa Fulani, because they are weak. I want to fight the demon himself, Lucifer. Yes. It's a very serious battle if you don't know. In the spirit, if it is not a spiritual battle, there is no way anybody who calls himself a Biafran can stand up and say, I am not in support of Biafra. There must be something wrong with that person. That person has been possessed by a demon. A demon of self-denial and self-hate. That is what we cure at IPOB. We cure illness. Also here. He was with me in 2014 with some of you when we started. And I told him that after the parade they will give me a frown and the staff that same day, and they did. And I did it for a reason also. I built a cenotaph which was really destroyed to honor all of you. It cost millions upon millions of naira. And after we finished it, they did their parade and gave me their flag. From that day, the spirit of every dead Biafran soldier woke up. To go with IPOB till this very day, I'm telling you. Sometimes what we are doing is beyond us. When I go into Radio Biafra behind the microphone, I am telling you the gospel truth. I don't know what I'm saying most of the time. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. I say some things and I come out and I'll be saying to Onyema, how am I sure those things I said are going to come to reality? He said he doesn't know. He was telling me what I was saying. But he was giving me sign to stop. I didn't see. And they have been with us since then. Loyal, resolute, and determined because they know where we are going to. But our destination is Biafra. There is nothing Hausa Fulani intimidation can do. I say nothing. Nothing, they will not do anything. Those who are foolish enough to be afraid of them that serve them in Abuja and in Lagos and in various other political positions, today they are in shame and disgrace. I'm sure you know Charlie Boy. Today he was chased away from Wuse Market by Fulani Alabaki. Yes, they were stoning him to death. They ran away from the market. They wanted to burn him. See? He believes in one Nigeria. Anybody who is a Biafran and you believe in one Nigeria, there is something wrong with your brain. You need help. Anytime you go to your local Pentecostal church and they do what they call the altar call for deliverance, go and join them because you need deliverance. If you say you don't want Biafra, you need salvation in your life and in the life of your family. Biafra is the only hope we have, the only way forward, the only salvation we can see and feel. Nothing more, nothing less. So as our veterans, you have an enormous responsibility to make sure that we do not fail. That is the job of elders, to make sure that the young ones are not misguided, that they are always guided in the truth and in the path that will lead to our salvation. individually and collectively. Biafra does not belong to me, does not belong to my family. I was very happy yesterday. I saw a very, very important man, I must tell you, very important yesterday. And he said to me, I support what you are doing 100%. I said, why? But I don't expect it from somebody like you. He said, because what you are doing is bigger than you. It is too big that we don't even see you anymore. What we see is that thing that is around you when you are coming. And it's too big. I am just a mere vessel, an instrument, to convey this divine message to all of you. Heaven sent me to come to preach this gospel. Not man, I tell you. Not man. The funniest thing is that I was suffering and they know this. That's what frightens them the more. Because they know I will never ever stop. They know it. In their hearts they know it. When they refused to release me, they said I will not come to court. And I said to my lawyer that those saying it, they know me very well. That even if you put the God inside Sambusa forest, I will be there. They know it very well. They know. They know that very well. They know I can never run away. Why am I saying this to you? So you understand your responsibility, not to those of your colleagues that died in the trenches, but to their children and their children's children, even those unborn. That's your responsibility. When we were at Enugu in 2014, remembering those of you that fought and died for us and for your sacrifice, I did. The very first person to do it is myself. Colonel always you. The first person to recognize your sacrifices. Me, I did. Because one veteran came to me and said that before the colleague died from wounds sustained from a mortar attack, he said, it is not fighting and dying that frightens me. Is will those we are fighting forever remember what we did for them? And I said to them, yes. We will not just remember them, we will remember them forever and ever. Every blessed year, 30th of May, as long as there is a man, woman, child on this face of this very planet Earth, that is a Biafran, those that fought and died between 67 to 70, they will be remembered forever and ever. That is who we are. And that is why IPOB will never fail, I'm telling you. That is what our enemies see in the spirit. What they see is the multitude of those that died in the battlefield with us. There is a saying in Igbo language, when we rise up, our enemies, they run away. Ask those that met us at the opening. They run away. When we confront our enemies, they run. Because we are on the side of truth and righteousness. And they know it. I want to be on my own is not a crime. It is not a call to war. The Lord must know this. You are our veterans. They say we are small and we are stupid. But the world will see you to understand that there is legitimacy to what we are doing. You lend
Jalibaba, Mayesia, Mayesia, Baba, Jalibaba, Mayesia, Aye. Jalibaba, Mayesia, Mayesia, Baba, Jalibaba, Mayesia, Aye. Oyinbayami, Marabesi, Marabesi, Oyinbayami, Marabesi, Hello, Marabesi, Oyinbayami, Marabesi, Oyinbayami, Marabesi, Oyinbayami, Marabesi,
wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on this very planet that Elohim created, we welcome you to hopefully another very exciting edition of Radio Biafra live broadcast. We also pray that it shall remain uninterrupted on this very day, the 24th of the 11th month of the year 2019, with the time now standing at approximately 16 minutes past 7 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra. It gives me unique pleasure and it is my privilege to welcome listeners from right across the surface of this very earth in the 24 time zones of the world. There is Biafra, there are Biafrans gathered around participating this very gospel of redemption. This very day, this very time, this very hour, this very minute, the foundations of the damnable zoological republic is vibrating because they know we have come with the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That is why the zoo will collapse. That is why the inevitability of the division and disintegration of that damnation created by the British must come to pass in our time, that Elohim may be blessed, that Chupokika Biama may be magnified, and those who have passed on in this very effort, that their death may not be in vain. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you, and good night to some of you. Unlike any other, we are here under divine instruction behind this very microphone to propagate relentlessly this very message of hope, of freedom, a message of liberation, a message of knowledge, a message of enlightenment on this very day, because I assure you, the life of everything in that zoo will no longer be the same, because this night there will be thunderous revelations, I assure you. All the things they have hidden from you, we are going to lay bare. But before we proceed, we must commit our proceedings into the hands of Elohim. Sometimes people wander out of confusion. Sometimes some people are spiritually tormented that they do not know where they are going. But I stand on the same gospel that was preached by the ancients at our temple in Arochukwu to proclaim this very evening that Chukwukika Abiyama will take control of our proceedings. As we embark on this very solemn journey to restore the land of Biafra by preaching the truth that has been handed over to us, regardless of what we encounter, regardless of the pain and the anguish, regardless of the torment and the betrayal, regardless of the strength of the enemy, we shall prevail, and Biafra will come in our time. Therefore, Heavenly Father, our Lord and our God who resided in heaven, the creator of everything that was made and will be made in the future, We hand over these very proceedings this evening unto your care. We feel sorry for those who do not know you. We feel sorry for those who do not know that you said, let there be light, and there was light, and from it, everything that was created came forth. You do not change because you are the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Your word is yea and amen. Anything you speak must come to pass. You have decreed that Biafra will come in this very generation of IPOB. And we beseech thee this evening, O Heavenly Father, for the sake of all the pain, the anguish, the torment, and the humiliation, the blood that have been spilled on this very journey. May it touch your heart, oh Heavenly Father, to rescue your children the same way you delivered Israel. So shall Biafra be delivered in our time. Because you made a promise to your children, and you said, I will scatter you, and when the time is right, I will gather you once again. The manifestation of that very prophecy, we live with it every blessed day of our lives. With the state of Israel and Biafra will come as you promised us. Because your Lord and your God of all creation, we ask you to continue to guide and sustain this very IPOB, that we may remain resolute, defiant, uncompromising, determined, never to retreat nor surrender until Biafra is restored and beyond, that your kingdom may dwell upon this very earth and in that very corner of Africa, where you decreed long ago that your light will shine, and through Biafra, light will come into Africa. We pray and we ask for the fulfillment of that divine proclamation, that this very IPOB will remain the vehicle through which your proclamations will come to pass in the lives of men. Therefore, we ask you, O Heavenly Father, to accept every praise, every adulation, every adoration, every bowed head, every bended knee, in total submission to your will, that your will, O Elohim, may be done in the lives of your children and those who believe in your redeeming grace. All this we ask in the name above every other name, the creator of time, space, and everything else in between. Now and forevermore. He said, without further hesitation, we will proceed this very evening to preach this very gospel, as has been handed down to us to preach, because anything we speak behind this very microphone will inevitably come to pass. All that we have said have come to pass. All that we prophesy will come to pass. And in the end, Biafra will come. There is nothing our enemies can do about it. We stand here, or in my case, we sit on this very hallowed chair this evening, behind the Radio Biafra microphone, to proclaim the truth that will sink the damnable zoological republic, that very hellish British creation. It was never designed for human habitation. It is a country with no name, a country with no history, no culture, no class, no panache. That is nothing, absolutely nothing. only a bunch of animals roaming around aimlessly and directionless. A country where cattle is more valuable than human beings. A country where mediocrity is celebrated, where ignorance is exalted. That can never be the portion for Biafrans. Tomorrow, not ever. This very evening, we have come with three simple topics. Very simple. Who started hate speech in the zoo? All of you celebrating and adoring Dr. Azikiwe. I will not call him Nnamdi Azikiwe because he never behaved like somebody who answers to that very glorious name, Nnamdi. Nnamdi means my Redeemer liveth. The name that I bear means my Redeemer liveth, which means that Chukwokika Piama is with us at all times. Azikiwe was a failure this evening, we shall prove it. And we come to Alan Onyema, he has discovered, to his great shock, that once you utter any set of words against IPOB or against its leader, your world will come crashing down. What is happening to Alan today will be a warning to every future Efulefu that they will never love you. But we shall get to that later. This evening we commence, and I ask you to bring your pen and your paper. This lecture will be lost on you because we don't want that must write that you do not forget. So that you do not forget this very lecture this evening, because I assure you, after this very lecture, we will play this broadcast over and over again. We will make sure that everybody, every human being, every animal, those who are flying in the air, those that are walking on all fours on the ground, even those caged, they will understand that there is nothing called Nigeria, there is no hope. They are all a bunch of hypocrites. All of them are hypocrites. Nobody loves Nigeria. It is impossible to love something that is artificially created. It is impossible for you to love something that Elohim did not make. So artificial is unbelievable. All of the idiots who pride themselves in saying they are one Nigerians. Tonight is your shame. And we start very methodically, very diligently, that the world may bear us witness that this very agitation led by IPOB is not only righteous, but is the right thing to do at the right time, because there is nothing called Nigeria. The Fulani Caliphate is messing up with everybody. They are toying with our brains. They have deceived us. They are killing us. They are making life intolerable. Nothing seems to be functioning. No education, no viable school system, no health care, no roads. There are no jobs. Life is meaningless only for the criminals, the looters, the cheats, and the liars. No human being can stay under such a regime, only if you are an animal. And that is why I call Nigeria a zoo. I call Nigeria a zoo because they do not reason. The people cannot reason. Even dogs are better than them because they have brain, but they cannot reason very well with it. They have eyes, but they cannot see. They have ears, they do not hear. I do not understand. I begin to worry. To ask Chukwukika in heaven, are you sure you created these people from West Africa? What is wrong with them? No wonder the Europeans came to West Africa to harvest us, to the Americans, to work for them as farm animals. There is something wrong with our brain, I swear it. There is something wrong. Nobody can see what is happening in the zoo and wake up the next day to say they're Nigerian. There is something wrong with your brain, I assure you. He said, you must be very sick. Onyema have just discovered it. That you cannot serve Nigeria. It is impossible. Once you try it, you will be destroyed. Once you try it, Elohim will take away his protection and his glory from you. Once you try it, you become a person non grata to IPOB. And once you try it, you'll be destroyed by the zoo that you seek to serve. Heaven will bear me witness that I do not lie, and I am at Wasi. I do not lie. That is why this IPOB, I assure you, will ensure that Biafra comes in our time. Tell your friends, if you've not told them, tell them to bring their pen and paper tonight. That posterity will bear us witness that we want this generation of Indomie eaters and cultists who do not go to school. Even Jonathan is lamenting. Your universities are filled with cults because you do not study. You don't study. That is why a senator can plagiarize a law written by the Singaporean parliament and bring it into the zoo, and the journalist is interviewing him, asking him about the laws on his speech. When this stupid journalist from Channels Television should be asking that idiot, where did you copy this from? It is called copyright infringement. It is called plagiarism. If you try it anywhere in this world that is civilized, you go to jail. But only in the zoo, all of you are not ashamed of yourselves. A senator that you claim you voted for went to Singapore, downloaded Singapore laws online, brought to you, to your so-called Senate. They brought it to your Senate. And that is what you're debating. Instead of you to ask the idiot, where did you get this thing from? Was it originally crafted by you? But today, zoo is accepting plagiarism. We must proceed this is very speedily. Let me say this. Any woman or Biafran, let me just say Biafran. Anytime the Fulanis want to destroy you, they first push you to insult IPOB. Before IPOB, they push you to insult your people. It didn't start with Onyema. Zeke is the beginning of all our mess. And tonight I will try to prove it. With all due respect to our elder and father, Mbazulika Mechi, that worked under Zeke, and they feel like him, I want to prove to him and the rest who are listening this evening that Zeke is an abject failure. Total failure. And the beginning of all our problems. They call for the Fulefu. All this nonsense residing in Lagos and in Abuja, in Kano and in Kaduna, those idiots, they are responsible for what is happening to us today. And I'm very glad that Onyema have now felt it, to understand that no matter how much, no matter how expensive the gift it is that you give to the child of your mistress or concubine, they will only call you uncle, never father, because you're not. You are not a Nigerian before the Fulani Caliphate. You are just Nyamri and a Biafran agitator. That's who you are. And today they have proven it to you. We'll get to that later. But try to understand this. They push you, they prod you to perhaps be insolent towards IPOB because they know it's only IPOB who can save them. Only IPOB can. Once they isolate you and take you away from the position of IPOB, then you're gone. The reason why Dezia Nematweke was not deported, or should I say, repatriated from England, from London, is because of the very robust and consistent campaign we mounted. By the end of this evening, we'll decide if Onyema is worthy of our protection or not. But first, let's look at hate speech. There is a man, the scion, by me, I mean S-C-I-O-N, the scion of the Caliphate, a descendant of Onyema Nnamdi, a royal prince, this man, Ahmadu Bello. The Northerners looked up to him. By the Northerners, I mean the 13 Al-Majri states in the north, the Sharia states. They looked up to him to try and save them. He was their Messiah. And he did everything. The British trained him, groomed him. Because when Britain went to the north, as I've explained time and time again, the hatred of Britain towards Biafran people is because we resisted them. The Bini people resisted them. We fought them. Year after year, decade after decade, until Arochukwu fell in 1904. I've been saying this all the time, but I don't think our people actually understand the importance of these history lessons that we give for free on Radio Biafra. When they went to the north, when the white man went to the north, the missionaries as well, with them, the colonial masters and the missionaries, Fulani said you can come in and do whatever you like, but don't bring your Bible here. That's what they told them. We don't need your education, we don't need your Bible. The same Boko Haram you have today, it didn't start today. It started from the time before Ahmadu Bello was born. We don't want to go to school. That is Boko Haram. The terrorist group that you have today, that from us, Britain, they will tell you, Britain will tell you this. So it's like, you must get your pen and paper, please. It's very, very important. This man, Ahmadu Bello, he is a Fulani Caliphate lord. They were based in Sokoto. Sokoto was called Gobert. Sokoto is a Hausa territory. Understand this? This is something that Nigerians do not understand. They do not know this. They don't know the way the mind of the Caliphate works. They came into Gobert. You know how they managed to take over Sokoto? The same way they took Ilorin, but we'll get to Ilorin later. You know how they took Sokoto from the Hausa people? They said to them that we have come to fight corruption. We have come to bring a purer form of Islam. We have come to make sure that the burden of dictatorial leadership is gone. The same thing they're telling you today. So the same rubbish they're telling you today, they told our Hausa people nearly 400 years ago. It didn't start today. It's not a new thing. That is why I wonder when people say we are educated, we are intellectuals, we are professors, I look at them and I laugh at them. And we that are educated, we in IPOB, to them we are not educated. But after this evening, we will know who is educated and who is not. The Fulanis came and said to the Hausa people, do you know that man called Onyema Nnamdi, the founder of this new, should I say, Fulani movement, this jihadi onslaught, the man that boasted that he would dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. He came into Hausa land disguised as a teacher. Understand this very well. He came into Hausa land disguised as a teacher. He came in as an ordinary teacher. I'm just trying to lay a foundation for this whole hate speech nonsense to prove to the world, because I know everybody is listening to this very broadcast. I want to prove to humanity that Fulani people brought hatred and evil into Nigeria. And I want to tell you how they brought it in and from where. And I'm telling you this evening, they started from Sokoto. Onyema Nnamdi was an ordinary teacher at the house of the king of Katsina, the Habe monarchies, HABE. As at that time, how come these people that we thought were very primitive from Africa could manufacture their own guns? Hausa people were manufacturing their own guns. Fulani came with nothing else. Some of you do not understand this. That the evil that you see in some Fulani people, especially their leaders, came from the fact, or should I say, come from the fact that they don't eat beef. Some of you don't know that. They drink the blood of cattle. Go and do your research, go through your history books. It will confirm everything that I'm telling you this evening. Go through it very carefully. The Fulanis, they came. They said to the Hausa king of Katsina, oh, we want to teach your children. I'm a scholar, I'm from Senegal. I want to teach your children how to read and write Arabic, how to read Quran and all the rest of it. You know, as this man was busy teaching, the same thing that when Buhari, when he was alive, the same way they convinced some of you idiots to think that he's a reformed Democrat that is coming to fight corruption. The same thing that Okman Danfodio did. They allowed him into the palace because he's a scholar, he's a teacher. They saw him as an intellectual within the Islamic world, or should I say Islamic studies. They allowed him in. He started to work on the gardeners, the domestic servants. He started to preach them. We have come to fight corruption. We must fight corruption. Corruption is killing everybody. The same rubbish you're hearing today. That was exactly what they told the Hausa peasants. And the Hausa peasants stupidly aligned themselves with the Fulanis, and all their kings were killed. Are you following what I'm telling you? This is Father Onyema and his tribe. Before we come on air, before we sit here to preach this very gospel, we have done our research. I challenge anybody at all, any Janjaweed, any Alamaji to counter what I'm telling you. Listen, of course they can't. They know it's the truth. Instead, they will abandon the topic and they'll be talking of something else. They cannot challenge what I'm telling you this evening. That was how they got into the Hausa people. Hausa foolishly allowed them. They killed every Habe monarch you had in the north. And in its place brought emirs. The emirs that you're seeing in the north is a modern Fulani thing. They came with it, with their cattle. Some of you don't know this. There were no emirs in the north before, none whatsoever. What you had were kings and queens. The Fulani brought their emirs. Before the Hausa people realized what had happened to them, it was too late. Everywhere is a Fulani emirate. And to cover the whole nonsense up, they brought Islam, their own version of Wahhabi Islam, to confuse what is left of the brain of the Hausa man. And the Hausa man became useless. That till today, the only thing he has is language and nothing else. The Hausa people, they are useless. So it's actually in the interest of the Hausa people to support the emergence of Biafra. That is the only way they can go back to who they used to be, to their former glory and greatness. Ahmadu Bello is the first very primitive xenophobe you had. And you ask yourself, what did the Igbos do to this man, this Ahmadu Bello, who was knighted? Admittedly, he speaks very crisp and clear English. Did Igbo people kill any Fulanis in the north? The answer is no. What is the crime of the Igbo people? This is something that Onyema never knew, but I'm telling him tonight for free. I am telling Ohaneze, I am telling the so-called governors, all of them, from the so-called South and Southeast, the entire Biafraland. I wish they can listen and learn that these people, the same thing for Chibika Mechi. You think if you pretend you're not Igbo, you're from Ikwere, I'm not Igbo, I'm descended from Bini people, they will allow you to go in, you are mad. You are insane. Ahmadu Bello, listen very carefully. Today they are bringing hate speech bill into the zoo. I want to prove that it's the same people introducing hate speech bill. They are the hate speech makers. They brought hate into Nigerian politics. They brought hate. Let me share this thing to people because I read today Junaid Mohammed, as usual, that glorified Alamaji. cells of the mouth, that the Igbos, with them in power, there will be no Nigeria. They killed the leaders of other people. There is an impression I wish to correct this evening for the whole world to hear. The reason why Nzoku killed Ahmadu Bello was because of this speech, and the speech that Ahmadu Bello also gave in 1959 when he came to Sandhurst. Some of you know Sandhurst, where they train their soldiers. Nzoku was there. And so, a few other people. Some of you don't know history because you don't read, you don't study, you don't learn. All it is, you gossip, you get your 2 gigabytes of data, you go online, looking for Babcock sex video, looking for Big Brother. That's all you do. And you say, okay, can I raise the volume up? Talking what? Absolute rubbish. Your mates are all over the world, protesting and learning, studying and trying to grasp how a functioning modern society should run. But we're lazy youth in the zoo. What do you know? Listen very carefully to this. It was, you see the same Fulani people telling you about hate speech. It's not good. Hate speech is bad. They are the ones that brought hate speech. You see the same Fulani telling you, we are fighting corruption. Onyema is corrupt. This person, they are the granddaddy of corruption. Go and check them everywhere. The only thing they know how to do very well is to protect their collective interest. They know how to protect one another. And that is the only thing working in the favor of Onyema this evening a bit. Because we need to protect our own. You remember Ibrahim Lamode of EFCC, how much he stole? We are going to remind FBI, since the Department of Justice, let me not go to that. Let me finish first. Ahmadu Bello was the first hate speech maker in the zoo, number 1. These are the people that hate everybody who is not like them. And Britain created what I would call an experiment in the zoo. Nigeria was not meant to be. Britain knows this. During the time of independence, they asked Zeke. I said to him, have you seen what happened in India? You now have Pakistan, which is predominantly Muslim, India, which is predominantly Hindu, and you have Bangladesh as well. Do you want to divide? Zeke said no. He had this very distorted view of what Pan-Africanism is all about. But I will educate Zeke posthumously about Pan-Africanism because I'm a Pan-Africanist myself. I believe that Africa should be one. But the problem is, how do you get there? That is the problem. And that is where Africa is failing. We shall deal with that on a later date. Finally, we are the first to utilize hate speech in order to dominate the political space. They want to stifle debate. They don't want you to criticize them. When they bring cattle to your village and slaughter your mothers and rape your daughters, they want you to keep quiet. Because anything you say is hate speech. I hope you understand it. That is why they bring, but some of you are so daft you don't understand. Some of the idiots that work for Channels TV, I don't know where they brought those idiots from. They can see what is happening. Maybe some of them are Yoruba Muslim. Who knows? You know, conquered from, you know that Stockholm syndrome. Once you're conquered, you copy everything from the conqueror. You become very subservient and very loyal. That's what happened to Yoruba Muslims. And it's very sad. Very, very sad. I want us to please listen. It's on my wall, of course. But some of you, I can't understand for the life of me why people don't want to delve into what Ahmadu Bello said. This is the man they call the founding father, one of the 3 founding fathers of Nigeria. When you hear the Marxists from the north say, oh, this is our founding father. They are talking about this man. Some of you claim you love Nigeria. Let's make Nigeria great, green, white, green. Now, let us go and see and play it for the whole world to hear what this man actually said right from the beginning, who he is, and what he's all about. Let us, I want the whole, because sometimes our people, maybe it's due to lack of, you know, there's electricity to charge your mobile devices or whatever you use to browse online. But this is I'm going to play it for the whole world to hear. The children of this man are today lecturing us about what constitutes hate speech. I want to ask Alamajiri in the north, please to tell me what this is all about.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it obsession about the Igbos.
This is the BBC. What you're hearing here is a BBC reporter talking to Ahmadu Bello. Listen carefully. This was before independence. Or should I say shortly afterwards? The British government, they knew that the Fulani people are obsessed. You know what happens when you have obsession? When you want something and you obsess, it leads to mental, it leads to insanity. This BBC reporter is now asking, why is it that the Fulanis are obsessed with the Igbo people? So the hatred did not start today. I hope Onyema is listening. I hope Onyema is listening. I hope the useless governors are listening. I hope the idiot with the 2x2 hotel in Jalingo is listening. The hatred they have for you did not start today. A white man is now asking Ahmadu Bello, why do you hate the Igbo so much? What did they do to you? Let us hear what the man has to say. Because some of you don't know history. We try as much as possible to educate some of you, but it goes through one ear and pops out through the other ear. You don't pay any attention. You don't retain any information. But this evening, by the grace of Elohim, you retain something tonight. I want to prove to you that the basis of your so-called one Nigerianism is flawed. I want to prove to you that you people are the miscreants. I want to prove to you that you people are the cowards. I want to prove to you that you people are the illiterates. I want to prove to an average Nigerian tonight that all their education is useless and hopeless. You cannot love a country created by somebody like this. Let us hear what the man has to say.
Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the...
Are you listening to what the founder of Nigeria is saying? This is the man that the dead one borrowed all his philosophy from. This is the man that is the spiritual guide for Junaid Mohammed and Nanga Abdullahi. All those Janjaweed, Alamajiri senators that you see, this is the man that they look up to. Are some of you hearing what he's saying about you? Onyema, are you listening to what he's saying? You people, you dominate. So anytime they see a successful businessman from Biafra land, they must shut the person down because the person has now come to dominate. Do you see the basis of all the lies? This was before the war. Some people will say, oh, the Igbo people are domineering. But this was way, almost 10, 11 years before the war. Can you hear what Ahmadu Bello is saying? A so-called founder of Nigeria. Let's make Nigeria one. Nigeria must be united. Is Goron listening? What did they, at this point, when this man was saying this thing, are you telling me that Igbos were planning to rebel, that Biafrans were planning to break away from Nigeria? I want to ask them, what prompted this? Because of sheer hard work. and blessing of God in heaven. We are a blessed people. And because we are a blessed people, because Biafrans are blessed, you will always have enemies. People will be envious and jealous of you. It's in the scriptures. Joseph and the brothers. Once you're beloved, once you're loved, the same thing is happening to Israel in the midst of enemies. Once you're loved and appreciated, you will have it is in the nature of black people. They will create enmity where there is none. I want to ask those bringing in hate speech, what will you call this comment by Ahmadu Bello? I played this thing in 2015, and Buhari was all over the place. What will you call it? This man said Igbos are domineering. We won't allow them. There is no way we can allow them to be part of Nigeria. The same Nigeria that Onyema said, oh, they were singing national anthem. As I picked them from South Africa, they broke into Nigerian national anthem. I was looking at the idiot, and I was thinking to myself, can you see how stupid people are? In a country that you don't know that you are not wanted, they are okay with you if you can obtain a PhD and open a small 2x2 chemist. They are okay with it. But once you become a successful millionaire and inventor, once you become somebody important, you better be that important in USA or in Europe, not in the zoo. Because once you're in the zoo, you're finished, you're gone. Unless you're prepared to be doing what Emefiele is doing, which is washing toilet for them, to answer CBN governor. He goes into the kitchen to fetch tea for them. Haven't you seen him? He's a boy, that's what we So if you are a Biafran and you want to be reckoned with in government, then you must be their slave. That is why Obiano will go and be begging them to take off his cap and be begging them, please rig election for me. I want to go in and I'll do anything you want me to do for you. And that's how they brought Fulani headsmen into Anambra State. All your governors, that's what they're doing. If you don't know, let me tell you. That's why you have a governor. Today he will say one thing, tomorrow he will say another thing. None of them is consistent. Not one single soul. They're all terrified. Because Fulani will remove them from power. Because Britain will look the other way. After all the media in Lagos and Bado and Abuja, anything the government says they should do. If the government can control the judiciary, how about ordinary newspaper? Of course, they're chaff. This is what the founder of Nigeria said, your so-called founding father. That means that from the inception of Nigeria, Biafrans were hated. Till today, they still hate you. But you don't understand it. You think we just came up one day started doing Biafra for the sake of it. No. The hatred is too much. The resentment is too much. The neglect is too much. No human being can live through this. I have said this before and allow me to repeat. If you don't have your pen and paper, go and get it. I am from the mood of those slaves they captured in Onitsha and took them to Georgia, to Savannah. And instead of them to be slaves to white people, they drowned in the creek, in the savannah. I've been there myself. That's where people like us come from. Not from the Fulefus you see every blessed day, talking nonsense about their useless one Nigeria. You have seen it. The founding father. Tomorrow they come up and say, oh, we must try and build Nigeria. But the person that brought the foundation stone, laid it in such a way that there will always be hatred against you. They will always hate you. Let us continue to hear what he has to say.
Solely with Northerners and not with other Nigerians, a temporary or permanent one.
In actual fact, what it is a Northerner first.
A Northerner first. That is exactly what they're doing today. Chief of Army Staff, Northerner first. That was what I came to. I warned you anyway. I warned you many years ago, but some of you won't listen. So what you're getting today is what you deserve. Northerner first. Northern Army, Chief of Army Staff, Air Vice Marshal, whatever for their Air Force, the Air Force Chief, Customs, Chief Justice of the Federation, Attorney General of the Federation. Everybody is a Northerner first. All the army formations, police commissioners, everywhere, Northerners first. Can you see it? So where is the Nigerian you're talking about? This is the man they claim founded Nigeria. He's the founding father of Nigeria. So Nigeria, with the help of the British, is the Northerner first creation. Has that not reflected in the number of heads of states that they have produced? All failures, by the way. All failures, by none, all failures. Look at them again now. In office, failures that they can't even legislate, they can't even craft any proper legislation. They have to go to Singapore to go and copy. And they brought it and useless Yoruba journalist in Channels TV. Hey, can you tell us about your bill? The bill is not his own. He plagiarized it from Singapore Parliament. You people have no shame. No shame whatsoever. Let us hear what Ahmadu Bello has to say.
If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract.
Do you know what they're saying? This is what Alamajiri is saying to you. If we cannot get a northerner to fill a position in a so-called Nigeria, we will go and bring a white man to do it. And you want me to say I'm a Nigerian. So let the call of you. God should punish all of you. You people are evil. You people are evil. Onyema and idiots like himself. You want me to say I'm a Nigerian. When the founder of Nigeria said that he would rather give a job to a white man than to give it to a fellow black African. And tomorrow you tell me Africa should be one. Let us come together in Africa. Are you stupid? Are you insane? Do you see how foolish we are? They found this. Is it a hate speech? What else is hate speech? I won't give you a job. Although you're a Nigerian, although I am a Nigerian, but I'd rather give a job to a white person than to give it. And this is Ahmadu Bello. They celebrate him every year. They name the university after him every year. That is how stupid Southerners are. It seems to me that the more you live to the Atlantic Ocean, the more useless we are. I'm telling you the truth. I'm being honest. You know me, I love to be honest. The closer you are to the Atlantic, the more foolish you are in the brain. You can no longer reason. And if they're saying Northerners first, you think they're going to promote our WhatsApp people. You're dreaming. It's only Fulani. It's only Fulani. Malam Aminu Kanu had to fight his way into relevance. Aminu Kanu didn't join them. They formed the MPC, Northern People's Congress. Aminu Kanu, a true typical Hausa man, formed his own political party. Not that rubbish they're doing there. Because Aminu Kanu knows the history of the Fulanese. But today, because they conquered the northern part of Yoruba, and because Yoruba media dominates the space in the zoo, they just, oh gosh, I don't understand these people. Do you see why they say that blacks are a bit funny in the head? You see, when a white man says that blacks are a bit foolish in the head, you can see they have a reason now, don't you? Can you see that they're justified in what they are saying? It's not that they're racist, of course they're not. They're just telling you reality. Have you seen or heard a white man insulting the Japanese? Of course not, because Japan is advanced. This is the founding father of Nigeria. That's some of you are telling green, white, green. I'm a Nigerian. We believe in Nigeria. These are the idiots that laid the foundation of hatred. The foundation of hatred that is eating us up. That very foundation led to the pogrom of 1966. That foundation led to the death of nearly 2 million children, 67 to 70. That foundation is why Asoloka, or should I say was why Akaloka was killed, beheaded, Gideon. That is why that same foundation, why Arewa Alamajiri, these ones doing Babiala on the streets, can get together in Abuja. I don't know who wrote the speech for them, saying that all Igbos are now expelled from the north. It's not hate speech. You can see how foolish. Instead of people to rise up and confront evil, you'll be asking yourself, but what did Zeke say about this man? Nothing. You know, typical, the same, you know, that line of a fulefu. Anything Nigeria does, as one of our brothers wrote, I think is Nicholas. If you slap an ifulef on the right hand side in Abuja, he will say, "Oh, wait for me in Lagos, and when I come, you can slap me on the other side." Ifulef, they never reason. They can never ask themselves, why is it that every commissioner is from the north? Every commissioner is a Fulani. Every commissioner is a Muslim. In your own land, police commissioner all from the north. You don't reason. You don't ask yourself questions. But here we do. Instead of them to give the job to an Igbo man, we better give it to a white man. And you want me to be in that country? Oh dear. Let us continue. We must listen to this man. Oh? This is the man, founder of Nigeria. Listen to him. He's Fulani. This is the basis of all the hatred against you. It will never ever go away. And the fact that Nzogu killed this man, the hatred, they magnified it 1,000-fold. That's the man that Junaid Mohammed is. Junaid Mohammed will not play this video for you. You will not see, Kenyans will not play this or call panelists to debate this. Never. Never, ever, ever. Newspapers will not carry this very broadcast this evening. They will not. Because it will offend the Fulani masters from the north. I'm sure now you're following what is happening. We must listen to all of it.
If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed. Doesn't this damage the idea?
Did you hear it? Awusa people, Awusa Fulani coming out of schools without job might lead to bloodshed. From the beginning, bloodshed. Bloodshed. These people are unrepentant killers. They love shedding blood. There is no war going on. But Ahmad Bello is telling you that there will be bloodshed. If they don't have jobs, there will be bloodshed. That's why Jonathan went and they stoned him. Nothing happened. If you try that in the South, every Yoruba, every newspaper, they stone the president. They want war. They stone the president. It is in the same Nigeria that referendum, ordinary referendum, that people can check up the meaning in a dictionary. Where the Adamawa today and Bazonia had referendum in 1961. But to an average Nigerian journalist and commentator, if you say referendum, you say it's war. You want to bring war. You're saying, but I'm talking about referendum to ask people to... No, it's war. You want to fight a war. You said to them, no, sir, it is not it's referendum. Can I please refer you to the nearest dictionary? No, it's war. Journalists will pick it up, it is war. They want to cause war. I said, no, I am asking for a referendum. The same thing that just happened in Ethiopia a few hours ago. Is that war? No, but in Nigeria it's war. You can see how foolish they are. In Nigeria it is war. I'm only on one video, just one single video, to lay the foundation so the world can understand that Nigeria is not viable, that the world may know that Nigeria cannot survive, that Britain may know that cage, that zoo they built and caged everybody is unsustainable. Unsustainable. Let heaven fall. But that zoo must fall first. It must come down. That zoo must collapse. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter. Hate speech bill. You people are the founders of hate speech. The 13 Sharia states of the North, you people are the granddaddies of hate speech. You want to do to us what you did to Awusa people. You think we don't have sense. You convinced Awusa because I don't know why you convinced them all, but you can't convince us. All this your nonsensical program, war against corruption, war against hate speech. Our country will divide. You look at Rwanda, it's hate speech. It's all rubbish and bunkum. You tried that with Awusa and it worked for you. Not with us. It won't work. So if there is no work, they will go to war, there will be bloodshed. That's what they're saying in effect. You know, we black people, we have a very funny way of feeling sorry for ourselves. We don't like telling ourselves the truth. We are not self-critical. We don't appraise ourselves. We don't sit down and say that what we are doing is wrong. That is why anytime you tell them, that's the way we reason like animals. You see a lot of people getting upset, but I say the same thing to myself. That is how you acquire higher set of reasoning, by being critical of by being self-critical, self-analytical. That's how you get to where you're supposed to be. And people should stop feeling sorry for themselves, for goodness sake. That is why Africa is in a mess. Every time pity. Give us aid, give us handout. We are dying. We are drowning in the sea. Oh, come and help us and fish us out of the sea. And somebody rightly said a few days ago, where people, if you bring a ship now to Igbo and say that you want volunteers who will be slaves in America, people will bring their own chains with them. Don't bother down, don't bother bringing any chains. We will come with our own chains. That's how hopeless our land is. And we are IPOB and we are doing the best we can to fix it.
Yes, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fair citizens of one country.
Well, it might, but you are new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east?
The white man is asking Ahmadu Bello, but all of you are Nigerians. He said, no, it doesn't matter. We are in the north. The journalist asked Ahmadu Bello, but all of you are Nigerians. He said, no, it doesn't matter. We are from the north. What matters to me is the north. Which has always been their policy from day one. And I'm asking myself, all those Efulefus, your so-called governors, your so-called politicians in Abuja, the Onyemas of this world, don't they have access to all these materials? Somebody should send it to them. That's what let me tell you what we're going to do, IPOB. I've asked all of you to go to Twitter. You don't want to go to Twitter, all of you. Go and open a Twitter account, all of you. Send this very clip of Ahmadu Bello to every senator. Send it to all of them and ask them, are these people proposing this hate speech bill, is this not their father? And the whole nonsense will die off. And then we are busy discussing rubbish. Tweet this very video to all the senators, and you see their shame come to light. Now we must proceed because the time now is approximately 13 minutes past 8 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra. You can now see what a disastrous colonial experiment that the zoo became as a result of fusing together diverse cultures, religion, value system, everything is diametrically opposed to each other. That is, I'm sure that I posted it before on my wall, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I'm sure Amaka is reposting it also on my wall. This is the man who is a spiritual guide and the eternal leader of Junaid Mohammed and Dango Abdullahi. I remember playing this video in 2015 to warn idiotic Nigerians what they are in for in Buhari then, but they didn't listen. Today is playing out. Is there anything I said before that hasn't come to pass? Is there anything I said? Of course, it's only one thing we are waiting for, which is the coming of Biafra. And Buhari said I lied against him. Then it was reported, and I came on Radio Biafra to tell Buhari then, when he was alive, that you are not educated enough to speak the level of English or grammar that Ahmadu was speaking in that very video. So he couldn't have been you. He didn't pass his primary school, secondary school, no certificate. How he got into army training college is anyone's guess. He even forged his certificate. And today, of course, he's normal. Somebody is ruling on his behalf. He became a head of state. Only a Fulani man. If he's a Biafran, you will find fellow Biafran saying, I am holding 7 PhDs. How can this man be going when I have 7 PhDs? But at least they can learn something from the Janjaweed, from the Alamajiri Fulani, from the north. It was these same Fulani people that used their hate speech. These same people, these same Fulani that used their hate speech. For those who do not know, they used their hate speech to convince and brainwash. You don't talk about brainwashing. Oh, Kanu is brainwashing them. But I'm asking the Fulani, when you came to, are you people from the north? Are you not migrants? When you came to Kobe, which today you renamed Sokoto, what did you come there to do? Without brainwashing the Hausa people, do you think you would have succeeded in replacing their kings with your emirs? Simple question. Because they succeeded in brainwashing the Hausa people, and we are here educating our people to counter them. That's why there is brainwashing. Kanu is brainwashing them. Because we know their secret. You know Fulani now. They think they're smart. They can do all their smartness with the middle belt, with the baggy people, with all those TVs. They can mess them up. Not us. We are Biafrans. We are naturally endowed with common sense and the ability to reason. And from a very early age in the village, we begin to tell you stories about the tortoise and all the rest of it. It's to train you to learn how to reason properly. That is one thing our ancestors gave to us, the ability to reason. That is why this gospel is sinking into the heart, soul, and mind of our people, because we have something that others do not have. We can reason, others cannot. That is why they hate us. They say, you brainwash through Hausa people, isn't it? What is Hausa today? I'm asking even Hausa people, where are you people today? Are you not gone, almost extinct? Except for your language? Isn't it ironic that it's Biafra that will save Hausa people? Isn't it very funny? It's a very strange thing, isn't it? All those minorities in the north that they have smothered to extinction, only Biafra can save you. I'm appealing to those of them in the north. It's only Biafra that can actually save you. Because we want everybody to be free. From the zoo. From that British-built zoo. It was the Fulani that brought in hate speech. Nobody else. Look at Hausa peasants today. Are they any better off after betraying their leaders? I'm asking Onyema and all those people that talk nonsense against IPOB and its leadership. I want to tell them something. After even Afonja that betrayed his own people, the Yoruba man, the Yoruba king in Ilorin that betrayed his people. After betraying your people to the Fulanese, what becomes of you after that? I just want to know. What becomes of your life after the betrayal? Look at, even you see an Hausa man today, some of them may claim they are Fulani, but actually Hausa. When you see an Hausa man today, ask him, what is the benefit, or what have you benefited from betraying your kings to these vandals from heaven, from Senegal? What have you achieved? What they achieved is that Gobert was renamed Sokoto, and all their kings were killed or sacked and replaced by Fulani emirs. All their governors, Fulani people, this evening. That is the price of betrayal. So Hausa people betrayed their kings, and today they're suffering it. Nobody knows who they are, apart from their language. BBC Hausa service, and they're jumping over. After, are you going to eat BBC Hausa service? What is your status in life? All those things that Malam Aminu Kanu fought for. Where are they today? Because you betrayed your forefathers, betrayed your leaders, betrayed your kings. The same way some Fulefus are busy today running around trying to betray IPOB. Of course, we know them, they can't succeed. Because we came with education and enlightenment, very critical in the life of an average Biafran. That is the only thing we have. Once you speak sense or reason into a Biafran, they will accept it. They don't need to go to school. It's just they just do 1 + 1 = 2, and that's it. That is why we are formidable. We're in the hearts and minds of our people. We are in their soul. Everywhere is IPOB. I said everywhere is IPOB on the ground. Both the old and the young. I said everybody is IPOB. They now recognize the need for us to be free. I feel sorry for Hausa people. They should fight. They should form IPOB. Hausa should form IPOB in Kanu, in Katsina, in Zaria, in Kaduna, all those places that they own. They should form IPOB, their own IPOB, and fight for their liberation. Hausa peasants are everywhere today doing Babiala because they betrayed their leaders. The same thing became of us immediately after the war. All the betrayers, the Ifaginas of this world, the Wodos of this world, all the families that betrayed us, where are they today? They're the ones kneeling down and begging for governorship, kneeling down and begging for presidency. I don't know the ones begging. Are we begging? The answer is no. I keep saying it, that the same trick the Fulanese used on poor, unlettered Hausa peasants of 17th century is what they are using on the South today. My friend writes about this a lot, and I love reading what he writes. Fanny Coyote. He writes about it. The South is so useless. We want to repeat the mistakes that the Hausas made. We must not forget, look at how they operate. We must not forget that the brainwashed Hausa people helped the Fulanis that conquered them to conquer the Wagi people and all the so-called minorities of the Middle Belt. You know that Babangida, you know the former head of the Babangida, his father is Yoruba, but his mom is from Bagi, is Bagi woman. You know that? In case you don't know, I'm just letting you know. He's Yoruba, but his mom is Bagi. He is a very clever man. So he ran to his mother's people very, very early. That's why he got away with all the things that he got away with. They're not probing him, but they're probing Onyema. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. We must not forget that Hausa people helped Fulani conquer the Hausa. Hausa helped Fulani to conquer the Bagi people. And the rest of the Middle Belt, the TVs, all of them. If they conquer you, help them to conquer other people. That is what they're doing. But some of you are too blind to see. You cannot see it. Ask yourself, how did Islam spread to Kogi State? Have you asked yourself that question before? Are they people of Kogi? Are they Igala people? Are they Fulani or Hausa? How come there's Islam there? Oh, so you think Quran fell from heaven and landed in somewhere in Igala land? No, of course not. It's through conquest. The Fulani people are very clever. I must give them, to be honest with you, they are clever in a way. They are very clever. Once they conquer you, they brainwash you and tell you the other person is evil. You can't help them to conquer them. That's what they do. But in Biafra, they have failed. They have met IPOB, an immovable rock. Immovable. You cannot move us from where we are. It's impossible. You cannot. Not today. Never, ever. They know you can you bribe me? The answer is no. Can you buy over my conscience? The answer is no. So, there is no alternative than Biafra. We are unbuyable, unbribable. Not in this world, not in the next one. We remain determined to get our Biafra. Do you know that they conquered the TVs, the Domas, the Gala, and the rest? And you know what they did during 1967? This is how clever they are. And I now believe with the help of the British. You know what they did? You are not... God. The TV people did not get angry with the Fulanis that conquered them. You know what they did? They now said to the TV people, the real enemies are the Igbos. Oh, you came and conquered me. I thought you'd have been my enemy. Somebody invaded your land, took over everything that you had previously, raped your women, trashed your land, and you're saying you're not the enemy, that the enemy is those people over there that never did anything to me. That's what, but somehow they succeeded. They succeeded in convincing, Nigeria is very strange, honestly. They succeeded in convincing the TV people and the rest to go and fight the Biafrans, to go and kill Igbo people as much as they can. I use the word Igbo because that's what they use when they want to foment hatred. They use the word Igbo. You know where they use the word Igbo? So they can draw on the sentiment and sympathy of our cousins, from Akwa Ibom, from Cross River. That's what they do. Very clever. Divide and rule. Very clever people. Just when you see somebody from Akwa Ibom, they say, I'm a minority. I'm from Akwa Ibom. I'm a minority in Akwa Ibom. People are so daft. How can you be a minority in your father's compound? How many are there in Luxembourg? How many are there in Wales? And they said, English has to be your lingua franca. Do you actually know that the Ireland, the mainland of Britain, everybody speaks a different language? Do you know that they have something called the Welsh language? That is what they speak, not English, but they are British. They live side by side with the English. Do you know that the Scottish people, they speak a form of Gaelic? I think it's Gaelic language they speak. Are you aware of that? But they will come to Africa, they will band all of us together, they say, your language is now English. Some idiot will tell you, there is strength in numbers. I don't know where they got that rubbish from. How big is Luxembourg? Black people. I wonder for you people. I'm telling you, sometimes I ask Elohim, I ask Chukwu, but how did you, is it the same brain that you gave other people that you gave us in Africa? Or is our brain different? Well, how come we cannot reason properly? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? The entire infantry of the Nigerian army, we are made up of middle belt people. Their hatred is Igbo people. Why do you hate them? You say you want one Nigeria. You heard somebody hate speech from Sadwana. There was corruption rife everywhere. Zogu carried out a coup. And some of them are saying, Igbo leaders were not killed. But was Michael Opara corrupt? Was Azikiwe corrupt? But you know, it's in the zoo. It is a quota system. If you kill Awasa people, if you kill Fulani corrupt leaders and hate speech merchants, you must also kill your own people too. That is how daft your average Nigerian is. If you ask the Middle Belt why you're fighting the Igbos, they say the Igbos are domineering. Have they invaded your land before? The answer is no. Did they kill your relatives? The answer is no. So how are they domineering? Oh, they come. And even if they're a slave, they go to a slave camp. After a month or two, they become the foreman because they are blessed. You can't take away the glory of God from them. They are blessed people. That is why we have writers, inventors, designers, everything, intellectuals. Not these days, I mean before. The likes of Professor Ninjoko. I'm talking about men who are well-read and learned, not all this chaff that call themselves professors these days, they know nothing. I'm talking about Professor DK, that class of pure intellectualism, brain. At universities these days, talking absolute garbage. Ask the Middle Belt man. But today, isn't it very strange? The Danjumas of this world that fought and killed Ironsi. He killed Ironsi. He's the one telling you to go arm yourselves. Things are happening. And now they quietly reminded him of his oil interest, his oil blocks, and he kept quiet. And the Alumajiri came in with their cattle, slaughtering them at will. You can know because you've been compromised. You can no longer say anything. People like us say whatever we like because we are uncompromisable. Do you understand that? They didn't stop there. You know what they did? You know they're very clever with the help of the British. They convinced Chief Obafemi Awolowo, a learned man for that matter, that starving and killing Biafran children and stealing the money belonging to Biafrans after the war was justified as payback for the much hated Igbo man. Now we are on the second founding father of Nigeria. He's the second one. You've heard what the first one said about you and how he hates Biafrans. This is the second one. Who are the founding fathers of Nigeria? It's Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, and Awolowo. The second founding father, what did he do to us? But let us perhaps build a picture of what led to the coup. The reason why Nzogo and Go carried out the coup was to install Awolowo as the president. So it could have been a tribal coup. Yeah? But during the time that the Fulanis came to kill all of us, to kill our parents and to kill us, Awolowo joined them. Awolowo no longer remembered that Igbo officers carried out a coup to make him the president of Nigeria. He joined them against us. That's another second founding father. Your second founding father, people are saying to me, oh, why don't you work for Nigeria? I just want to ask you a simple question. The first founding father that made Nigeria, you claim founded Nigeria for you, of course, is a lie. Is Ahmadu Bello. He hates our people. He hates my people. He said it openly. Instead of me to give a job to you, give it to a white man. The second founding father that we ran to, and we thought this founding father is better. We did coup for him to make him the president. He now turned around and starved 2 million children to death. He wasn't satisfied. I don't hate Oduduwa people. They must understand this. Some of my good friends are Yoruba. I don't, but I'm just speaking the truth. Awolowo actually opened his mouth and said, despite every international convention against his conduct, he said that starvation is a legitimate weapon of war. He's a war criminal. But you will not have the Yorubas admit, oh, how can it be? He's Baba, how can it be? Because they believe in covering evil. In Biafra, we cannot cover evil. If I do anything bad tomorrow, in Biafra, I expect myself to be ostracized and hated for life. Regardless of what you've done in the past is irrelevant. What you did today is what matters. I will join them. Let me repeat. When you hear some Yorubas who are not educated, some of them, not just them, of course, you have Efulefus, they are bound everywhere. Idiots are even more in Biafraland than elsewhere. When you hear them talking, oh, what Baba did was good. But the coup that the Fulanis used as justification to kill 3.6 million, of course, not just them, but the whole world, killed 3.6 million Biafrans, is to put a Yoruba man on the seat of power. Nzobo did what he did as an Igbo man to make Awolowo the president. So where is all this hatred from Yorubas coming from? I just don't get it. Of course, the coup failed because another Igbo man thwarted it. Agirancy. Do you understand? Now, I am struggling this evening. I want to paint a picture for our people to understand that believing in one Nigeria is the greatest idiocy anybody could possibly involve himself with. We carried out a coup to install a Yoruba man as the president. The Yoruba man turned around and presided over the killing of 2 million children. I didn't say adults, they're only children. And after the war, Awolowo took all our money from the banks. Nobody complained. The so-called intellectuals you have, that was why I said that it is the Fulanis that formed Ohanese. Ohanese never went to any international criminal court. They never went to the international criminal tribunal. They never went anywhere to recover all our money that Awolowo stole. No. Or the killing of our people. No. It's us IPOB doing it now. This same IPOB, we are the ones taking them to court. And of course, they will hear our case event. Of course they will. To hold Gowon and Co accountable. That is second founding father for you. And do you still want me to believe in one Nigeria? After hearing what I've just preached this evening, do you still believe in one Nigeria? When the two founding fathers of Nigeria hate us so much that they want all of us dead, how can I belong to that country? It's absolutely impossible. Awolowo, with all his education and intellect, agreed and served the Caliphate with distinction, not minding that Nzogu risked his life to make him the president of Nigeria. They moved to the coastal regions. You know, they're very clever. This is them moving. It's a pincer movement. Their approach is to destroy Biafra, to emasculate, because they know that for Biafra to exist, you need an Igbo man in it. They know the Igbo, of course. It's the truth. I'm not going to hide the truth. They know you need an Igbo man to make Biafra work. So what they did was a classic pincer movement. They moved around us, hoping to encircle us, deny them access to the sea, make their own brothers to hate them, and then we have them where we want them. How did they manage to do that? They moved to the coastal region. Meanwhile, Nzobo, on whose account they came to kill us, 3.6 million Biafrans died because an Igbo man carried out a coup. Who is that Igbo man? Nzogo. Do you know, funny enough, Nzogo's village and his people, they're not Igbo. They are Onyema, they are separate. They are Delta, they are Bendel, they are South, they are Niger Delta. You see how they do it? These are the merchants of hate speech. They twist everything. Fulani is very clever. Them and their counterparts in Lagos, Ibadan media, they twist the truth. They turn it upside down. But during the war, you killed us because an Igbo man carried out a coup, trying to plant a Yoruba man as the president. They came and killed us because an Igbo man died. Then after killing us, they now said, oh, no, you know one thing, that Igbo man that carried out the coup, on whose account we killed 3.6 million of you, he's not Igbo anymore. He's from Delta. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, dear me. Zoo. Let's continue. They moved to the coastal regions of Biafraland. You know, they went to Calabar, they went to the Afix, they went to Akwa Ibom, the Bibo people, they went to everywhere. They started to brainwash them. Do you see that man called Edwin Clark? Do you know him? Edwin Clark, you know him very well. He's an elder statesman now. He's an elder, the chairman of PANDEF. Do you know he was a saboteur during the war? They made him Federal Commissioner for Information to betray Biafra, and he did. You know me, I respect, but I don't fear them. I tell you the truth. If you're not the one, I did you come out and say it. You see that man, Edwin Clark, Edwin Clark. Do you know he was a saboteur during the war? He worked for Nigeria against Biafra. They made him Federal Commissioner for Information. I'm sure some of you didn't know that before. They are the leaders you have, and they are your elder statesmen. Saboteurs are elder statesmen in our land. The same thing the Fulanis did to the Hausas is what they are doing. Then very slowly they bring their Ruga. And with that, they start the small Fulani village. And from there, they get their own Sariki. From there, they get their own Emir. And in the next 126 years, we will cease to exist as a people the same way the Hausas no longer exist. Is that what you want for your children? I'm asking, is that what you want for your children? I'm sure not. They went to Niger Delta, the so-called Niger Delta, South, and Delta, and Bendel, and all the rest of the rubbish that goes with it. They swallowed the lies, hook, line, and sinker. Yes, everyone went to my alma mater, Government College, formerly Fisher High School. And by the way, Chino Achebe was there as well. And so was Cyprian Ekwensi. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so. All the greats and the good, they went to Government College Omoahian. And I too was there as an Omoahian. There they teach you everything you need to know in life. I'm telling you. Ken Seruwa went to Government College Omoahian with the scholarship of the Eastern region. But he left when the war broke out. He joined his good friend Abacha, thinking he can betray his people. Before Abacha killed Ken Seruwa, Abacha said to him, "You think you can betray me the same way you betrayed your people? Ask those who survived that trial, like the likes of Mite. I think one of them is called Mite. I think he's a lawyer. Ask him, he'll tell you. He will tell you. Abacha said to Ken Seruwa, "You want to betray me as you betrayed your people. Who are his people, Biafrans?" After everything that Ken Seruwa did, we don't learn. We Biafrans, some of us, we don't learn. They still killed him. But I'm very glad and very happy for the Ogoni we have today. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Still in a few homes in river areas, they call them Niger Delta. They prefer the Fulani murderous headsmen to their own hardworking cousins from upland. Some of the pigs from there, when they talk, you can sense it. As soon as Hausa and Bagi new Islamic converts helped the Fulani to defeat the Yoruba army at Ilorin, the Yoruba raised themselves, were recruited into the Caliphate anti-Igbo, anti-Biafra agenda till today. Because Ottoman Danfodio said, my mission is to go to deep Quran in the sea. So their approach is very simple. The British told them that the only obstacle you have are the Igbos. So you must devise a means to conquer them. So what the Fulanis did very cleverly is, anybody they conquer, they did something to the Hausas, to the Med. So entire Middle Belt, everybody they took them. The Bira people, everybody they took. Once they conquer you, the first thing the Fulani Caliphate drums into your head is hatred for the Igbo people. That's all. And now, instead of fighting them, you turn around and start facing somebody who did nothing to you. Can Yoruba say that we fought a war with them? The answer is no. Have we taken your land before? The answer is no. Did we force you to worship Amadioha? The answer is no. Have we ever forced you to do anything? The answer is no. So, where is the hatred coming from? And why is it that the likes of Alan and Onyema cannot see all this? Why is it that Ohanese cannot see it? Why is it that those that own cosmetic shops in Lagos and in Abuja, they cannot see this? Why is it that those that are selling spare parts in Canada, they can't see it? Are you people that blind and foolish cannot see the hatred coming towards you? I ask every other person in the zoo, what did Biafrans do to you to warrant the level of hatred that you have towards us? Just give me a simple reason. Is it because we are blessed by God Almighty? The same way Israel is blessed. You can't take it away from us. It's called blessing. You can't. You can't. As soon as they took a lot in from the Yoruba people, Yorubas faced their attention towards the east and forgot their enemies from the north. Despite the carnage in Odi, in Odi in Bayelsa, Obasanjo flattened Odi. Some people from Izon, some pigs from Izon, they prefer one Nigeria to Biafra. But they came and they carpet bombed the entire Odi. They sank it into the Middle Ages. Can you imagine if an Igbo head of state were to order the leveling of Odi by the Air Force, same way Obasanjo did? Do you know what will happen today? But it seems to me in Africa, in West Africa especially, the more you hate us, the more you come against us, the more we love you. Ask Odi people, Odi in Bayelsa, it's his own land. What happened in 1999? Odi was leveled. But the person responsible of Obasanjo, hey, he's the ex-leader, he's the statesman. But ask them about any Igbo person and they tell you that we hate them. They are not part of us. That is how sick some black Africans are, sick in the brain. Our collective stupidity did not stop there. It didn't stop there. Our idiocy did not stop there. It didn't stop there. Now they moved into Igbo land proper. I hope all people are writing all these things down for reference purposes. When they finished with our cousins, the Efiks, the Bibios, the Anans, the Oron people, the Jagan, when they finished with them, they now came into our land. They kept shrinking us. From the north of River Benue all the way to Opobo was Igbo land before. Now they kept shrinking us. Until they squeezed us into 5 states only. How did they do it? Hate speech. They went into our land to decimate, to gerrymander our boundaries, to divide brother against brother, sister against sister. Take Ebema, for example. Ebema. People say, oh, how do Ebema go to the government area? Take Ebema, for example. Do you know there is Ebema in Delta State? Ebema, the same Ebema in River State. Do you know why they divided us? They want to shrink us. They want to make us smaller. The smaller we are, the easier for the final conquest. And how did they intend to achieve that? They will first place for governors in government houses. They use Ruga, they push in, and that's the end of us as a race. We are finished. Because part of Ebema is gone. Part of Ohaji is gone. There is Ohaji in River State. If you go to the same family, the same name in River State, they will tell you they are not part of whatever thing that you're doing. Yes, we are Haji. Yes, we speak Igbo. Yes, my name is Wike. Yes, my name is Chinda. Yes, my name is Woji. But I'm not Igbo. Have you seen such stupidity in your life before? Somebody is answering Fumilayo. You are born in Ondo State, Fumilayo. You say you're not Yoruba or you're not Oduduwa. Are you not insane? That's what they have done to us. Very cleverly too. And as they're doing it, they're giving you your little position, federal minister of this, permanent secretary. So when you come back to the village, people will look up to you. Say, oh, don't mind those Igbos. Let's get together and celebrate. We are no longer part of them. That's what they've done. They kept shrinking us. They took 3 local government areas from Ebonyi. They gave it to Benue. I said Benue is part of the north. And nobody is saying anything apart from IPOB. Nobody, no governor, no politician, no Hanese, no sociocultural, no this group, that group, this gathering, that, none of them. Only this same IPOB is fighting to unite this great family. And of course, we are succeeding. There is a woman everywhere. But your brother asking the same name. Maybe Yeshua. In the other part of Ebema, you go there. Now I'm Niger Delta. Oh, don't come here with that. You say, but you're my brother. We are the same until that I was a woman and drew the boundary. No, now I'm Niger Delta. Who did this to us? Who did it to us? It just can't be the Fulanis alone. Let me come to the beautiful land of Ogoni and ask them what is the crime of an Igbo man. I know I am deviating a bit. I'm deviating to tell you the effect of the hate speech and hate actions coming from Fulani people from time immemorial. The effect on the ground. They talk about if it leads to death. But the hate speech you brought into our land have divided family against family, brother against brother, sister against sister. Some of you do not know that I was on my way to Ogoni land the day the Nigerian army attacked me physically. They shot at me at Obakala. Very soon I released the video. That was the first direct assault I had. Thankfully, there was no loss of life that very day. They shot at us repeatedly at Obakala. Ask anybody before Obakala post office. That army checkpoint there. I was on my way to Ogoni. Maybe they felt that if they allow me to go to Ogoni, then I will finally succeed in uniting the whole of Biafraland against them. Ogoni elders were waiting for me. They invited me to come. I was on my way to Ogoni when I was attacked at Obakala Junction. Attacked, they were shooting at us. Oh dear. The reason for that attack can be traced back to the fact that Fulani house niggers who are merely caretakers for the British did not want me to preach the gospel of Biafra restoration in Ogoni land. But I'll still go to Ogoni land someday soon. It was the great work the Fulanis did with their hate speech that made it possible for the lives of Chibika Mechi to be answering Rotimi, an Igbo man. When he shoots him, he is Chibika Mechi. When he shoots him, he is Rotimi, the lion of Niger Delta. No longer an Igbo man. Chibika Mechi is his name. He's eating with the Caliphate. The day they will strike him, the idiots will come here and say, oh, let's try and defend Chibika Mechi. If you ask him, he say he's from Rivers, not Igbo any longer. Only when he shoots him will you hear him say he is Igbo. They moved into Igbocha and succeeded in convincing our own people, the same people from the same family, that we are no longer the same. You know, in the same so-called river, so they have people, Omadolu, the children of one lone daughter. not Omoada Fumilayo, Omoadolu. They say they're not Igbo. Oh dear me. But I love Igbo. I love all of them, of course. What they did when I went to Iguacha was exemplary. All of them, everybody. I went to Niger Street. I didn't announce my visit to Iguacha to see our brethren from the Joy Youth Council Elders Forum. I want to address them. In Niger Street, if you know Iguacha very well, Niger Street, at the heart of the town, within 30 minutes, everywhere was blocked. People came out to see us. It was marvelous. I love everybody, but you know me, I'm self-critical. So when you hear me say some of these things, it's because I want you to repent and to change, not because I hate you. No, I don't. I say it out of love, compassion, and care. We are one people. But Obibo in Iguacha, Obibo. They are very special to me, very dear to my heart. Because everywhere in Igbo land has dual name. You have Afara in Abagana. Afara is where I come from, in Ibeku. But there's Afara in Abagana, there's Afara in Ikedu. But there's only one Obibo, only one. The heart. And they behave as if they are the heartbeat of this very movement. And I commend them for that. Obibo, I'm telling you, I must commend them for that. They told us that it's called Oyimbo, or whatever rubbish they call it. It's like telling me that Kanu is no longer an Hausa territory. It's just unbelievable. They would have succeeded if not for the coming of IPOB. Very little they would have succeeded in taking even Obibo. They have. And once they capture Obibo, we are gone. That is the heart of our land. But that is why I believe that the capital of Biafra will actually be in Iguacha, to be honest with you. Because it has everybody in there. Everybody is represented in Iguacha. But that's a debate for another day. Some people may disagree with me, but that's what I think. Capital of Biafra should be in Iguacha. I'm telling you. Before the coming of IPOB, that's before, not now anymore, a badly informed Ikwere man will tell you he's from Bini, but his name is Njoko. But all that is gone. It's in the past. But I'm just trying to let the world know the effect of the hate speech and hate actions from Fulani. How damaging. That we are the ones that felt it. We've been feeling it for the past 84 years. Fulani hate speech and hate action. My pride for Igbo knows no bounds, of course. The same way that I feel an affinity to Aba Onisha and Abakaliki. I'm indeed proud of Igbo, I must tell you. The same hate speech the Fulanis used with the help of segments of unprincipled Nigerian media to demonize IPOB that made it possible for the Efulefu Brigade, led by Ohaneze and Igbo governors, to rise with such venom against their own freedom fighters, started from Ottoman Danfodio, perfected by the British and executed with precision from the time of Ahmad Bello till date. That is a fact of life. Look at all those that claim they went to Oxford or to Cambridge. All of them, those from the East, and tell me if any of them reason like a human being. All of them that claim they studied in England, as I did, from Hunyawode to the lowest boot-licking Fulani lapdog in a government lodge, they are all against IPOB, despite the fact that we are fighting to save them from certain death at the hands of their Caliphate masters, not also minding the fact that their Caliphate masters are the principal sponsors of cattle-herding terrorists in our land, killing us today. That is how stupid we have all become. We celebrate failure. You celebrate failure. Those who are saboteurs are those you're eulogizing, praising them to heaven. Oh, leave him. He's our son from our village. But he was a saboteur. He was responsible for the death of your people. He is serving Fulani Caliphate. Can't you understand it? Now let me ask this question. Do you think if Boko Haram were a Biafran group from the south, that any of us will travel abroad or be alive today? Believe you me, Britain will send nuclear bomb to level the entire place. People who are sponsoring 4 terrorist groups are telling you that they love you in one Nigeria and you believe them. Are you not daft? ISIS in West Africa is called ISWA, the one led by the son of Mohammed Yusuf, that Buhari, when he was alive, personally recruited. He was in a court of law. Some of you don't know this. He was released, the son of Mohammed Yusuf, al-Banawi. He is the head of ISIS in West Africa, recruited by Buhari when he was alive to head that terrorism. He was arrested and released by Justice John Soho. You know Tozo, John Tozo? Released him for lack of evidence. A terrorist. You also know about Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. That's why US said that they're turning their firepower now to West Africa. Because our diplomatic moves, of course they're working. Of course they're working. Have they said that before? We went to USA and now they're moving into the... I told them categorically. I didn't hide anything. I told the US lawmakers and policy maker formers in America, the Fulanis are the ones sponsoring ISIS in West Africa, of which the son of Mohammed Yusuf is their head. They are the ones sponsoring Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. They are the ones sponsoring Boko Haram, and they are the owners of Fulani headsmen, 4 terror groups from Fulanis from the north. And they tell you that they want one Nigeria, and you believe them. Are you daft? Imagine if Boko Haram or any terror group were to come from the south, what they would do. They will use that as justification for everything. But when they come out to run for high office, nobody reminds them, or no one says to them, oh, but you people have now generated 4 terror groups. How come? Because they conquer, you know, the effect of the loss of a Lauren on the Yoruba psyche is very damaging. That is why Nigeria is the way it is today. Because the Yorubas control the media. So they have significant influence in day-to-day public discourse. But some of them are Islam. Are you telling them that they're going to work against their Islamic brothers from the Caliphate? The answer is no, they can't. That is why Nigeria is in such a mess. Now you know. I hope you're writing everything down this evening. Because the zoo cannot be the same after tonight. You know that. We will repeat this broadcast almost every day for the next 7 days so that the whole world may know the truth about Nigeria. Hate speech about Boko. Obasanjo destroyed it, nothing happened. He said 12 police officers were killed by unknown gunmen. But the same Obasanjo visited the houses of the leaders of Boko Haram that were busy slaughtering both military, police, and civilians. He went there to beg them to stop. Remember why they killed the brother of Mohammed Yusuf? Because he allowed Obasanjo to visit him. They are killing people. Obasanjo went to see them. Ilodi, 12 policemen allegedly were killed, and he sent Nigeria Air Force to bomb everywhere. Because then Biafrans were not one, we are not united. But in the north, you can't do that to Boko Haram. Because their senators, their governors, their ministers, everybody is behind them. But in Biafraland, the Fulani will put pressure on our governors, on our ministers, and our senators to abandon IPOB fighting peacefully for their freedom. But those using terror to get everything for the north, then they just allow them. The same Obasanjo will visit Boko Haram. But in the case of Odi, they call it, he sent Air Force to kill every woman, man, and child. I hope you're following. This is how foolish we are. No wonder Europeans concentrated their efforts on the coast of West Africa because when they were looking for animals to work in the farm in America and in the Caribbean, they came to West Africa. You have seen how foolish, even the Fulanis, ordinary Fulani, they're making use of our brain. Fulani man will come to Ogoniland and tell you, see that Igbo man there that did nothing to you, he's your enemy, and you're busy fighting an Igbo man while Shell is busy destroying your land. Who is foolish? Unbelievable. The semi-literate Almajiri senators from the arid north should be guided by these facts, that they are the ones that started hate speech. All those Almajiri senators from the north talking about hate speech this, hate speech that, you must all know that you are the ones that started hate speech. Some inhabitants of the abominable damnation, especially those from the south with their warped and misguided sense of patriotism, still accommodate these very obnoxious and downright ignorant views of the Janjaweed to begin desert wedding cow loving reprobates. Of course they are. I actually wrote this on my page. I have asked Britain to humanely dismantle their zoo, their big African zoo called Nigeria, to help put the animals inside it out of their misery. I am begging Britain, please put your zoo to an end, because the suffering is becoming unbearable. There is nothing the Fulani can contribute to the advancement of daily life. They are not noted for having founded any growing civilization. No, they'll just copy, adapt, steal, and pillage. They own disguised and raw hatred from the core Arewa North is represented by the founder, so-called founder of Nigeria, Ahmadu Bello. And even today, before we come on air, listen to this very carefully. There's a headline that came, 2023 presidency. Will vote for only northern candidate, irrespective of political party. This is the chairman of the Arewa Consultative Forum, which is the group that the Fulanis use to rule everybody else in the north. They are saying it openly. If this were said by a Biafran, they will say it's hate speech. How can you want to divide Nigeria? But they can say whatever they like. He is the acting chairman of Arewa Consultative Forum. His name is Alhaji Musa Liman Okwande. He said that Northerners will only vote for a presidential candidate of the North. Why then are you talking about one Nigeria? I'm struggling to understand this. They have told you they don't want you. The only reason why there is Nigeria is because of the oil and gas coming from my father's compound. That's all there is to it. Nothing more, nothing less. They don't give a damn about you. And of course, for the age-long desire to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. He said this today in Lafayette, Nasarawa State. I am expressing my opinion as a full-fledged northerner and a citizen of Nigeria as a full-fledged northerner. That is how they trick all of you. I'm a Nigerian. Look at what Arewa Consultative Forum is saying about their preference. And this is from the same Othman Danfodiolan, isn't it? And they will tell you, they will rig the election, because INEC chairman is a Fulani man. So they will rig the election and tell you it's the will of the European observers will come around. You know, the British ones that ran away from Gobi. When they saw dead bodies of hit coppers, they ran away. But they will go to Britain and they will write that the election was free and fair, apart from 2 polling stations somewhere in one local government by the corner of the road. There was a bit of a problem. But don't worry, that is not enough to nullify the whole vote. Black, Niseji. Hey, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Who made it possible? I have somebody must shoulder the blame. Who made it possible for the bloodthirsty Fulani terrorists to be the ones calling others terrorists today? They are the ones killing people. They have 4 terrorist groups: ISIS in West Africa, Al Qaeda in the Maghreb, Fulani headsmen, and Boko Haram. But when you hear them talk about IPOB as a terror group, you will think that we have killed everybody on this earth. But they're the ones doing the killing. They're the ones bombing, doing banditry and kidnapping in the north. That is the warped sense. I can't reason this through, honestly. I put it down to those I call the intellectual Efulefus, led by Dr. Azikiwe. I have now come to Azikiwe. The same way Ahmadu Bello is the father of modern hate speech in Nigeria is how Nnamdi Azikiwe is the father of Igbo One Nigeria Efulefus in our land and beyond. It was Nnamdi Azikiwe that brought betrayal into Eastern political mentality When you see the likes of your governors today and the likes of Hanese Ndioshi, models of this world, when you see them behaving the way they do, when they come out and they say they're going to sabotage Biafra again, their granddaddy is Azikiwe. I've now given you the 3 names of those that founded Nigeria. Now tell me if you want to live in a house built by these men. They didn't found Nigeria, of course. Lugard did. 3 of them. This is the Efulefu. He believes in selling his own people. Anybody celebrating Nnamdi Azikiwe is daft and useless. You are beyond useless. You don't know anything. I'm not a crowd follower. I give you the facts and I defend it. And I shall do so tonight. Nnamdi Azikiwe was a traitor and no intellectual juggernaut has claimed. Rubbish. He's nothing. He was an appeaser and a man dominated by the desire to rule an empire he did not conquer. Look at the breed of traitors that Zeke produced and their children who are today either living in Lagos, Abuja, in Kanu, or elsewhere. They are the most useless traitors and Fulani apologists we have. Who can dispute these very facts? The wickedness and spineless idiocy that characterize Modos or Hanese and the present crop of Ifulefus in government houses, they call themselves governors, all stem from the politics of treachery of Azikiwe. Don't take my word for it. We are going to hear from Azikiwe himself in his own words, because Nigerians are historical. They lack historical knowledge and wisdom. They are not properly tutored nor educated, and sometimes I think they can best be described as indulging in intellectual banditry and poor reasoning capacity. As you go you too much, it's not very good. But I'm just telling you, Zeke of Africa, he was nothing. I want people to now listen to this very man called Zeke and tell me what you make of him. This is your so-called Zeke that they are celebrating somewhere in Anambra State. They say he's a heavyweight. He's a this, he's a that. Zeke is a disgrace. I'm sure he's in hell somewhere. An utter and unmitigated disaster against our people. We are suffering today because of him. And let us hear what he had to say when he went to London. He was running from our people and he traveled to London. I want to hear what he has to say so that people can judge for themselves. So that our people can judge for themselves. The man is something else. Something else. Let us see if we can get him.
On Friday, September 5,
this is Zeke.
1969, I alighted at the Lagos airport at 2 p.m. And I spent the next 21 days in visiting the capitals of the 12 states of Nigeria, including 4 university towns and certain parts of the liberated areas. On Friday, September 5.
Now, did you hear him?
It has made it clear to me that all of us have now realized the mistakes we made in the past by fighting one another.
This is after the Fulanis must have finished killing our people. This is Nnamdi Azikiwe. He took money from Shell BP in London talking rubbish against his own people. He is calling our gallant soldiers rebels. Nnamdi Azikiwe. I can't call him Nnamdi, please. I can't. It is a very big shame. Very big shame. Azikiwe calling, oh my goodness, calling Ojukwu a rebel. Azikiwe, because Ojukwu did not give. The same thing they're doing today. He wants to be the leader. Anywhere he goes, he wants to rule. He wants to rule. He wants to be number one. Hausa people, Fulani rejected him. He ran down to ask Ojukwu to vacate his office. The same thing he did to Eyoeta. Why did we have enmity before IPOB came? Was it not because of Eyoeta? What this same man did to Eyoeta? Eyoeta was the head of government business in the East. He was sacked. He went to Yoruba people. He was kicked out of Yoruba parliament in Ibadan. He ran back to Enugu and asked Eyoeta to leave. That's why they said that Igbos don't know how to share. It's because of this man, this idiotic Azikiwe. Some of you don't know history. After on the online, people who don't know anything. Do you know who is Eyoeta? If you went to UNN, as I did, you know about Eyoeta. Or go and Google the man. Eyoeta, E-Y-O-I-T-T-A-H, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it I-T-T-A? Eyoeta. That's his name. He was the head of government business in the East. It was because of Nnamdi Azikiwe that he was sent back to Calabar. And from that day till now, the ethics have not forgiven us. This same useless Azikiwe. Let's hear him more.
Feeling, which is widespread, but all are now determined to turn a new leaf and help repair the damage we have inflicted on ourselves.
This man is saying that we inflicted the damage on ourselves. Our people were being killed in the north. The Fulanis came to our land to kill us, and after losing nearly 3 million people, this is what Azikiwe, we brought it on ourselves. Can you believe such nonsense? Can you believe such nonsense coming from the lips of Azikiwe? Can you believe such utter garbage coming from the lips of this idiot? This idiot called Azikiwe. And anybody from today onwards, I assure you, anybody who comes out in public to eulogize Dr. Azikiwe, IPOB will go after that very person. I assure you, I swear it. Let's hear what the Fulefu has to say.
Not only that, there is now a deep-seated desire to have effective central government, which will hold the federation intact, so that in the future, no component of it shall be in position to challenge the fatherland.
Have you heard it now? This is what this man said.
That an entire people like the Igbo have been tongue-tied and emasculated, that they have allowed tyrants to blindfold and hoodwink them.
He is calling, you see all the language they use. Nnamdi Kanu is hoodwinking you people. You are blindfolded. They got it from Azikiwe. Azikiwe is saying this thing about Ojukwu, that Ojukwu hoodwinked our people. Ojukwu, the people's general, fighting to save his people from extinction. This is what Azikiwe has to say about him. Or had to say about him. Can you believe that? Can anyone in their right mind believe this nonsense? Do you see what we're encountering at the hands of these Efulefus? Can you see how terrible that they have become? Anybody eulogizing or praising Azikiwe is a compound fool, a fool forever and ever, and will never be forgiven. I assure you, will never ever be forgiven. They thought this type of things would not come to light, but it has come to light. This is you're hearing the voice of Azikiwe. The same that I played the voice of Ahmadu Bello is how you're hearing the voice of Azikiwe. This is Nnamdi Azikiwe calling Ojukwu a rebel, calling Ojukwu a bandit, saying that we brought the destruction upon ourselves because he has been conquered by the same Fulani mentality. Fulani got to him, they conquered him. That was why he remained a fool until his death. A complete fool, a complete idiot. He is. Azikiwe walk in hell.
So that in a war alleged to be fought for their survival.
He is saying that we are alleging. You see where they got their alleged nonsense from? In a war that they allege that they are fighting for their survival. Hey, I'm telling you, this man, his head should be dug from the grave and burnt. I said this thing in 2009, 2012. People castigated me. They did not understand what we were going through. They did not understand because they are ahistorical. They don't know anything. This is Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe uttering garbage in London. Shell gave him money. That is why they cannot believe that Nnamdi Kanu will resist every advancement, every overture, every attempt at bribery. Because I said no. I'll continue to say no until Biafra is restored upon the face of this very earth. We are not like them. We can never be like them because we are chosen for this very noble work. Chosen by Elohim to do the work that heaven commanded must be done by the sons of men on this very earth. Azikiwe is calling Ojukwu a rebel. Azikiwe is calling Ojukwu, basically blaming us. Fulani people are killing us. Do you see where the Fulefus? That is why when they kill IPOB family members, when they slaughter us, you have the same Fulefu from this line, from this breed, the same rubbish. You brought it on yourself. Why must you march? Why must you gather? Why must you assemble? The same idiots. You see where they got it from? You see where they got his nonsense from? We hold them responsible. Now you understand. When I go hard against some of the Fulefus, the politicians, now you understand the reason why. I know them. I see them from a million miles. I've been preaching against this man, this Dr. Azikiwe, from the beginning. People didn't understand how evil this man was because he gave your father scholarship. When Awolowo was busy, not even scholarship, to one or two people, Awolowo was busy spreading scholarship everywhere in the West. Zeke was busy selecting a few people, those who will be loyal to him. What utter garbage. What utter garbage. This is Azikiwe. Now you see where your problems started from this idiot. That is where the genesis. That is why Ali and Onyema, all these idiots shouting one Nigeria, you can see them from the mold. You can see them from the mold of Azikiwe. You can see them in a straight line. I can name all of them for you. Deeper. Useless set of people. Unbelievable. He said he has a PhD, 7 rubbish. A village bricklayer is more intelligent than Dr. Azikiwe. Very, very useless. They say you don't respect. How can you look? Can you compare what Azikiwe is saying with what the Savannah is saying? I will defend my people. I will die for them. I will not give job to any woman. Look at what this idiot is saying. Fulani came to kill us, and this is what Azikiwe is saying. I don't know who did this to our people, but anyway, thank God for IPOB, the greatest family on this very earth. Without IPOB, by now, I think some of you will be giving birth to children called Amina or Dalhatu. I'm telling you the truth. You people should thank, any day you wake up, you thank IPOB. I'm telling you the truth. Unbelievable. You've heard from him. You will see these retards every day parading their naturally endowed ignorance on the pages of newspapers or as guest panelists on channels television. They are as daft as a Fulani lawmaker in the Senate. You know that the daftest of all, a Fulani lawmaker in the Senate is the most useless you can get them. They don't come more useless than that. Even in the zoo, their youths are worse. Place them on a stipend of maybe 2 gigabytes of data and a second-hand Chinese phone, and they will deploy it to gossip. And once they do that, you have made their day. Is it their self-important politicians or elders? They don't even understand the extent to which Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe destroyed our people. He is complicit in the death of our people between 67 and 70. In 2009, I said that Nnamdi Azikiwe's head should be dug out and burnt. Today, I repeat the same thing. His grave should be dug out, his skull severed from the rest of his skeleton, and it should be burnt in public. Because that man is evil. Many were led to believe that Azikiwe is one of the greatest Igbo men alive, but in reality, he was the problem of our people. We are still suffering today because of his antecedents. Do you know that Dr. Azikiwe appealed to the French government to stop sending aid to Biafra, referring to us as rebels? He was upset with the images of skeletal children on the pages of newspapers all over the world. he asked the French to stop sending aid to Biafra. And he's a great Igbo man. To make all of you that celebrate Zik, God will, all of you will suffer. All of you will suffer. All of you will suffer. I assure you. All of you will suffer. There were press, even a white woman realized that Dr. Azikiwe took money from Shell. BB. I don't know what is wrong with our people. Anybody you give money to, they forget their principle. I thought it's more or less a recent phenomenon. I don't know, it's been existing from time. Shell killing us. The same Shell went to Juku in Enugu, and the Juku said no, that the oil belongs to the people, and they left to go and support the Fulanis to come and kill us. You went behind our backs, you went to London and you took money. The same thing is happening today in this struggle. The same way Ojukwu was demonized is how some people are demonizing the leadership of IPOB. The same people working for Fulani, it has now been proven. Before now, people thought that the criticism of Ojukwu by Azikiwe was well founded. But you can see it's because Shell gave him money. And I'm sure Amaka is putting up all those pictures with the placards and the posters. Very sad indeed. I have the transcript, and I think it will be published. The transcript of what Zik actually said. After everything he did, no wonder another Ifulefu, Willie Obiano, declared a public holiday for him. You know, birds of the same feather. They flock together. See how useless they are? That drunkard declared public holiday for Azikiwe that put us in the mess we are in today. That tells you all you need to know. Only Professor Chinua Achebe, I'm telling you, anywhere he is, may his soul continue to rest in peace. The greatest mistake this generation will make will be to trust all these Efulefus. All of them, as you see them in the government, because they're handpicked. If you're not a loyal Fulani servant, they will never ever rig you into power. It's not possible. It's not done anywhere. They will never rig you into power unless you are a loyal Fulani servant. Let me now give you the names of our genuine frontline leaders in Biafra land. Genuine frontline leaders in Biafra land. One is Mazi Nnamdi. Write it down. People talk about leaders. I'm giving you the names of our leaders. Mazi Nnamdi, Dr. Michael Okpara, Brigadier Timothy Onwatuegu, Colonel Joe Achuzia, the great Hannibal, Dean Chukwemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the greatest of them all. The greatest of them all. The greatest is Ojukwu, the number one of them all. Philip Effiong, Dr. Kanu Ibiam, Professor Eninjoku, and Sam Mpape. The rest are basically chaff. These are your leaders. How do you know an Efulefu when you see them? As somebody who quite rightly argued, even if you slap an Efulefu or come and replace him with his so-called northern brother, they will still tell he's not tribal. Remember the case of the Chief Justice. What's his name again? Somebody needs to remind me. Our brother that was removed, the Biafran that was removed before the Fulani put in their own Sharia Chief Justice of the Federation. I need the name, please. It's escaped me. I need somebody to give me the name of our... I need the name of the Chief Justice. I'm not getting it. What is going on? Is there any delay or what? I need the name of the Chief Justice that was replaced. I need his name, please. By the Fulani Sharia Pawantapa. Did they say anything? It just ended. His name is on login. Thank you very much. Ikechuku. His name is Onogen. Remember Justice Onogen that was removed to pave the way. And Justice Onogen, before he was talking about one Nigeria, how to keep Nigeria one, how to make Nigeria one big happy family. And they removed him after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, Ethiopia. They brought in a nobody complained. So you're telling me that in the zoo, that anybody can come and appoint all their village people and there will be no uproar. But they're doing it, the Fulanis are doing it, and all of you are quiet. You cannot say anything, you cannot do anything. It is very, very sad indeed. And if we will see that the zoo is going down in the drain and still believe that it can be salvaged, let's help Nigeria. Nigeria will rise again. When did it rise in the past? When was it written anywhere that Nigeria was ever great? People didn't have much oil. You were selling oil. You had so much money that Gowon, as foolish as he was, didn't know what to do with the money. He appointed Jerome Udhoji to head an economic panel. And the Jerome Udhoji, look at a black man trying to practice Keynesian economics, which is demand-side economics. He felt that if you pay workers 4 times their salary, that somehow they will stimulate demand and growth in the economy, not knowing that he was in Africa. All that happened was that you had quadruple inflation the next week, and the money became useless. That's the legacy of Gowon to the zoo through Jerome Udhoji, practicing white man's economics when they are in black Africa. The record of Zeke doesn't speak very well. Let me go to Onyema and conclude very speedily, because people are now complaining about their data, as usual. The AP CEO is a clear message to used saboteurs, because it's been used, that no matter what a slave does, he can never be the heir apparent to his master. I think it was actually Elochukwu that wrote this. I read it and I felt it was appropriate that I touch upon it tonight. People have actually asked me, including, I thought the deputy asked me this, to clarify something about, I said this during my last broadcast about the visit of Alan Onyema to my house. And I believe that what I said during that broadcast may have precipitated this very investigation by the zoo through the FBI at the instigation of the U.S. Department for Justice. What some people do not know is that Alan Onyema came to my house. He visited me, and we talked about the zoo and what was happening in the zoo. He talked about the consequences of the quick notice, the hate speech by the Alamajiri, those Babiyala kids in the north. But of course, I knew it was their master speaking through them. One thing he forgot was that I am a Biafran first and foremost, and I'm incorruptible. He said he wanted to see how there could be peace, at least our people will not be killed in the north. I said to him, anything you want to do, you can do. I too am against our people being killed in the north. And that was it. The next line I heard, of course, people love taking pictures with me when they see me, as some of you may have gathered. He said we should take pictures with the
Alamajiri he brought with him. I can't say no. I am an Igbo man. I grew up in the village. You don't say no to your visitors. I said yes, I'm going to take pictures. And they started writing rubbish. And as soon as he went to BBC and granted them an interview, in fact, basically, when I read that he said those he rescued from South Africa were singing a national anthem, some of the lazy youths online working for APC descended on IPOB saying, can you see one of you claim Onyema is a Biafran. He was happily singing a national anthem. I knew his days were numbered. And then he gave the interview to BBC, where he maligned my person and basically lied against me. That was when I decided, that I know more about him than he can ever imagine. That was when they decided to move after him. So one of them wrote actually online. His name is Muhammad Al-Haji Danjuma. I think he came to my house as well with Alan. Today we paid our brother Nnamdi Kanu a visit, and out of deference to my brother Onyema and my humble self, we agreed to stop any hate speech or action that will promote violence. I told you about Fulani. They are the ones that made the hate speech against the Igbos living in the north. He came to my house and he's gone back and he's writing that we all agreed to stop any hate speech. Of course, he said interestingly, he is for peace. Of course, I am for peace and well-being of every Nigerian, which I am. I have said it many times. I want all of you to be free from the shackles of Fulani hegemony and British neo-colonial slavery. I've said that many times. I want the Hausas to be free. I want everybody to be free. Do you think I'm looking for Biafra just for my own sake? Of course not. I want people to be free. Because if they're not free and developed, they will all flock to Biafra to come and seek, or to come to seek a living. I don't want that. I want people to be developed, to stay in their own land, practice their own culture, their religion, and do whatever they have to do. So I am for peace in that regard. I'm not a terrorist. So why shouldn't I be for peace? So I think they misunderstood me, or deliberately chose to misrepresent my discussions with them. And that angered me, made me very, very upset. I am not, as an Okwana and an Alpha John, as they say, I don't know how to say that in English. In my place, when you come and you say you have a proposal, I will listen. People come to prison to see me, I listen to them. People proposals to me when I was in DSS custody, I listen to them. Can't tell you to go away. I will always listen to you. Always. But what I would do, or what I always do, remains a secret with me. But to compromise what I stand for and the Biafra struggle for independence is not something I will do. I'll be dead 10 times over. I have sacrificed a lot and will continue to sacrifice until Biafra is restored. I don't care or mind what people say or do. Onyema made a very big mistake, very huge one, by delving into a topic that is entirely above his station. He wanted to please his Fulani masters by telling them that he had a meeting and a discussion with Nnamdi Kanu, and that was a very huge mistake. Very huge mistake. A lot of people come to see me in secret that I've not told anyone about. They decided not to publicize it for their own good. He's gone ahead and done so, knowing fully well that IPOB will rise against him and that we will seek to defend our honor. Now we have done so. The Fulanis have moved against him because they know that IPOB cannot defend somebody who deliberately sought to undermine the effort and integrity of this very noble effort. Onyema is in a very serious mess. Look at him today and the mess he got himself into. The Fulanis, who are the greatest looters we have, they are in charge of EFCC. Ibrahim Lamode, have you forgotten? Look at all the criminal Fulani people. What do they know? They're not educated. They forge certificates, all of them. They rig themselves into power. or they appoint themselves into power in a so-called democracy. How many of them have been charged by the U.S. government? And I want to ask the U.S. Department for Justice, or whatever they call themselves, how many of Fulani people have you charged? The time Omar Diko was in London, Omar Diko ran away with a mobile bank. Omar Diko ran away with almost 5 billion pounds in those days. That money could feed the whole of Africa. Are the children not enjoying the money today? Some of you may be too young to remember a man called Ibrahim Taher. He was the Minister of Communications, Fulani man. They stole Nitel dry and set the building alight. Nitel building in Marina, in Lagos. That was how much money they stole. Not because was Minister for Transport. Remember Akinloye and his champagne? Akinloye was importing champagne in his name. Some of you have forgotten all this. These are the looters and the criminals you have. Oh, I was a Fulani. I wouldn't say I was a, please, I do apologize to our people. They're all Fulani, all of them. By none. Buhari, when he was alive during the reign of Abacha, was in charge of PTF. How about the 57 suitcases? You've forgotten, haven't you? Buhari was in charge of PTF, and he stole it dry because Abacha used it to launder money. You have all forgotten. Nobody's squaring them, nobody's investigating them. Alan Onyema abused the privilege I granted him by allowing him to come into my sitting room to sit down with me to have a discussion. And from there, he felt he could leverage that very encounter to endear himself to the Northerners. And they have turned around and rejected him. That is his business. I want to ask the United States Justice Department, how many Fulani looters of the Treasury have you indicted? I want to also ask the U.S. Department for Justice and the FBI, are you not aware that Tinubu was a drug dealer in Chicago? Did you not see the bullion van that went to Tinubu's house on the eve of the elections? Have you charged him? I also want to ask the U.S. Department for Justice if they have not heard about Aisha Buhari and his involvement with Halliburton, the bribery scandal. You've not investigated any of those, but you want to investigate Alan Onyema because he's Igbo, because he's seen to be successful, and because he went against IPOB again, which is a lapse in judgment on his part. But let us see how the whole thing plays out. We are not a fan of people that indulge in criminality. But everybody in the zoo is corrupt, especially politicians and those in high office. How they make their money is entirely up to them. They know how they do it. So we see how the whole thing plays out in the next few weeks. I'm not going to get him into any more trouble by asking questions I shouldn't ask at this point in time. But I do believe that he may have learned his lesson by now. That no matter how strong you feel, you are close to the Fulani Caliphate, provided you come from Biafra land, all of us. They will come after you. You see, write it down today. You see Chibi Kamage. One day they'll go after him. Write it down on a piece of paper. Write it down and quote me when it happens. That's the way they operate. Azikiwe served them. Look at, you heard what Azikiwe was saying. You heard it. Yet in 1979, they didn't vote for him. They didn't vote for him. Because he is a Biafran. And they don't trust him. They have come after many people, haven't they? They came after Ezekiel Izuogo. They went after Ibeto. This is after saying we are one Nigeria. Once you come out and say, I love Nigeria more than even the Fulani, you're finished. They don't believe you. They don't trust you. Look at the interview of Junaid Mohammed today. Look at what Arawa Consultative Forum are saying. But at the height, I wouldn't say at the height of agitation, in 2015, the whole Arawa came to Enugu for a meeting. They called the stupid Efulefus, Hanese, they attended a meeting together, and let's build Nigeria together. Today they're telling you now they have the power, they have INEC, they have the judiciary, they have the media, they have everybody. They have the Senate and House of Reps. They're not telling you to go to hell. All they will say is that the population of the North is more than the South. So regardless of what you do, they are more in number. So they will claim and they'll give themselves victory. And you wail for a few days on social media and you go back to buying a liter of petrol, 280 naira. And that'll be it. And when you hear that IPOB is rallying or agitating to save you, you take out of frustration and your hopelessness on IPOB when you should direct it against Fulani people. That is how sad our people are. Look at Ibeto. I remember Faneka telling me when we met in Kuje that Ibeto was suffering in EFCC custody. What was his crime? He dared to sell cement like Dangote. America is looking for who to investigate. Let them not anger us because we are watching them. If they escalate this thing tomorrow or day after tomorrow, then we'll all give FBI the names of those to investigate and where their money is, where they banked all the money that they looted from the zoo. That is something that they must understand. That is something they must know. We are not going to give up. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. We will not surrender Ireland to them. Of course not, we won't. Because as I said before, I grew up in the village. So we'll deal with the enemies of our people first, and then we'll deal with Ireland later. But right now, we are going to defend him. We will defend him. And from tomorrow, we'll give FBI the names of those to investigate. People that actually looted the treasury. And be rest assured that Babangida's name will be there. When we submit your name, we'll also tell them where to find the money that you looted from the treasury. So since FBI is now interested in tackling corruption in the zoo, we welcome them. We welcome them with open arms. We are now going to give them the names of those to investigate. Every Fulani, Alamajiri, criminal, looter, be rest assured that your names will be going up to FBI and to United States Department for Justice. And if they fail to investigate, then we will make the case that Onyema's case is victimization, a continuation of the economic emasculation of the Biafran people, which we will not tolerate. Some of you will sit at home, some will be gossiping, but I can assure you that I will be meeting those that matter face to face in America, discussing these very issues in the next few days. So we'll defend Allen, but I'm sure he's learned his lessons. Don't lie against IPOB or myself, or else you get yourself into trouble. Don't try the nonsense you pulled next time. And Allen Onyema is the very last amnesty we are going to grant anybody. Any Efulefu caught up in one Nigeria mess, from today onwards, we will not defend that very person. Unless you identify with Biafra. Unless you identify with IPOB. If you don't identify with IPOB and with Biafra, we will not defend you in the future. As simple as that. Then you will bear your cross. It is as simple as that. Innocent, we defended. Ibeto, we tried our best. They pull down or they try to frustrate Bat Nnaji as well. The list is endless. And as one of our brothers wrote very movingly, Agunze Onwoka, only a fool would want one Nigeria. Only a fool will want one Nigeria. No sensible person will want one Nigeria. Alan Onyema served the zoo and now has come back with shame. But we must defend him. We must defend him because the Almajiris, they hunt in packs. That is something that you must know. They hunt in packs. That is something our people must know. Even Amnesty International released a report accusing those governing or ruling the zoo in the name of Buhari. They accuse them of oppression, intimidation, disregard for the rule of law. Also, the American people will be hearing about this and how much that Abba has made. They have opened up a can of worms, I'm telling you. Because FBI will investigate, is it Yusuf Buhari? What is Buhari's son's name? The fourth richest person in Africa. FBI is going to investigate him and investigate Aisha as well. We'll make sure it happens. You know, in the USA, they follow due process. Once the complaint comes in, it has merit, they will investigate. So it is not just Onyema. No, whoever suggested that Onyema should be investigated, you've made the worst mistake of your life. Every Alamajiri, every Fulani, every criminal in the zoo will be investigated, including Tinubu. Everybody. Since they have started, everybody, we will supply them with every information they need. So they shouldn't worry. Since FBI wants to come in to dabble into I wouldn't say Biafra because Onyema doesn't even support Biafra. Since they want to continue where they stopped, where some parts of the Western world left off after 1970, after killing 3.6 million of us, you took our money, you removed us from every sphere of influence in Nigeria, and now the few people we have that can afford 3 square meals in a day, you want to destroy their businesses. Maybe so Dangote can float an airline. You destroyed it, but Dangote started enjoying monopoly. Our people don't reason very well. They don't want to see any of you as a millionaire. They don't want to see us rich. As long as you have your little spare parts shop, or you're selling crayfish, or you're selling 4 sticks of stockfish in 2 months, they're okay with it. So that way you'll be asking for one Nigeria, clamoring for one Nigeria. So when they get an Ifulefu and empower him or her, they come to the village, all of you be doing rankadede. The FBI rather should prepare for IPOB because we have the names of all the looters in the zoo called Nigeria. They are going to be very busy. Very, very busy indeed. We assure them, unless they drop the charges. If by tomorrow morning, we see in the Yoruba newspapers, Allen this, Allen that. I saw the headline today from Nation newspaper. They say those that live in glass houses should not throw stones. You don't throw. For Tinubu paper, Tinubu owns Nation. For Tinubu to splash the picture of Allen saying indicted for fraud and corruption. In that USA, we will see Tinubu there as well. We have the resources to mount whatever investigation we like. This is IPOB. So we ask them, the Fulani Caliphate, those in EFCC setting up special panel to probe Allen. No, you will not do that. Allen made a mistake. He messed up. That is true. But he's a Biafran. Are we going to throw him to the wolves? To devour him, of course not. We're not going to do that. We defend our own. As Ahmadu Bello would defend every northerner. To the point of not even appointing an Igbo person. He said it openly. Instead of me to appoint an Igbo man, I'll appoint a white man. So we must learn to defend our own. But let me repeat that this is the last time we will do this. If you come out again, any of you, if you come out again to say one useless thing about Biafra, or try to eulogize your one Nigeria, or preach one Nigeria, if you get into trouble, IPOB will not defend you again. We go to the issue of the people that is having a referendum, because rather very sadly, our people don't quite understand the meaning of referendum, especially those in the zoo. A very small region of Ethiopia have just become autonomous, or should I say independent. And when I was contemplating the reason why Ethiopia will grant one of their regions the chance to express their will via a referendum, something struck me. That Ethiopia is the only country in Africa not colonized by the West. Perhaps they have a different way of reasoning. It is only in the zoo that the media will not tell you that Ethiopians recently held a referendum to create a new state for their Sidama minority group. As I was saying, now I know why Ethiopia was not colonized. They reasoned differently. Compare Ethiopia with the British zoo called Nigeria and tell me if you cannot see any difference. In West Africa, we love to be enslaved. To be submissive to an external force is in our DNA. Do you know why they kept coming to the bite of Biafra to empty people across the whole of West Africa? Whites. Do you know why? Because we are submissive to extend. We only have strength when it comes to your fellow brothers. You have strength and energy. You'll be doing videos morning, noon, and night, writing junk all over the place. When it comes to fighting an external enemy, no, we are not good at it. My question tonight is this: why do we love to be slaves? Why? A tiny portion of Ethiopia is independent because they all came out and fought for it. Because we know that independence is agitation is a very expensive business. Of course it is. Everybody must rise up to make sure that we free ourselves from the bondage called zoo. We are the people being sold in Libya. We are abused all over North Africa. We are killed in Arabia. We are dehumanized in Europe. We are spat upon in America. We are imprisoned in Asia. And we are used as lab animals in South America. We are deported from Australia. Yet we have failed to acquire any self-pride or to even look at ourselves as equal human beings to all these people who are dehumanizing us. We don't like taking risks, but thank goodness for IPOB. Without risk, we cannot be free as a people. Nigerians, or should I say the youths of the shameless British created zoo called Nigeria, are preoccupied with watching Big Brother, gossiping and praising election riggers instead of fighting for their right. They keep copying the lazy Almajiri lifestyle of the North, the same lifestyle the Fulanis used to render Hausa youths useless. Some of you don't know it, that it was the deliberate policy of the North to stop their people from going to school during the early years of the zoo. To the Nigerian youth, I say to you, your mates are in Hong Kong, in Bolivia, in Honduras, in France, and all over the world, fighting for a better life for themselves and their children. But in the zoo, you are placed on 2,000 naira
of data every week by a politician to be gossiping your life away. People are protesting violently all over the world, but the average zoo lazy youth is nonchalant, docile, and sheepish. They fight themselves on social media. But tomorrow you will go to the embassy of all these people, all these youths, your age mates fighting for a better country. Tomorrow you will go to their embassy to ask to beg for visa. But when they were busy sacrificing their lives to make their country better, you were busy burning your data on Babcock College sex video and promoting mediocrity, hailing election riggers and putting your trust in a worthless PVC. And if you tell them to open their mind to the fact that a referendum will happen, they tell you that it is war. Referendum to them is war. They don't know that referendum is a pure democratic process through which people decide what happens in their society. Ethiopia is one. That is why Channels TV will not report it. Because to them, it is better to say that a call for referendum is a call for war. But will they learn? I very much doubt it. You've been with us for nearly 3 hours this very evening, and I pray that you will join us in the near future for another live broadcast. But in the interim, I would like you to ponder and to reflect upon what you've heard this evening and pray to Chukwukika Biama to give you the wisdom, the knowledge, and the discerning mind to appreciate what you've heard and to be able to act upon it. As always, Radio Biafra is an exceptional platform. Here is where we worship. On Radio Biafra is where we worship. Because Biafra is our religion and Chukwukika Biama is our God. From me, from here, it is good evening.